Hi guys, and today in our little chat with the Silver Wolves I want to talk about a little old school, but there's a better modern school way to do it. Now, when I was starting out, I saw this a lot with a lot of the old guys that worked shift work or went fishing and stuff, and they wanted to carry along coffee makings. And a lot of the guys, you know, for coffee makings, it was an old World War II canteen and cup set like this. And that was by far the most common that I've seen, because them guys had fought World War II and were therefore very familiar with a canteen cup cook set. But carrying the coffee and etc., often they had the old pre-made up sets, you know, came in a little package in the MREs and stuff like that. I mean the K rations and C rations, and that worked well. But they didn't want that coffee. They wanted Maxwell House or Folgers or Sanka or any of the older stuff like that. And so I watched these guys create something, and what they did was they took wax paper. You know when you go to the grocery store and they've got the aluminum foil, and right in there somewhere there's also wax paper, not parchment paper, but wax paper, okay? Back in the days before Ziploc bags, a lot of stuff got sealed up in wax paper bags. So what they would do is take that wax paper, and you would take a ironing board or a hand towel and put it on a counter, double thickness, leaving a single thickness flap. So they'd fold over like this, so it's two thicknesses here and a single thickness here. And they'd take a piece of wax paper and they would fold it in half. They would stick it up there, put that single layer of towel over it, and they'd take a hot iron, like you iron your clothes with, and they'd sit there and iron it just a second. That would melt the wax together, sealing it up. And then they'd go up the edge, making a sealed up tube that was open on one end. See what I'm saying? A flat sheet, fold it in half, go across the end and go up that side, and that would make a tube. Into that tube they would then measure the 2 scoops of Sanka, 1 scoop of sugar, 2 scoops of powdered cream or whatever into one unit, shake it down to the bottom so it was a nice tight and compact, squeeze it closed, and they would fold it over and put it and take the edge of the iron and seal it like a seal-a-meal does. And that's what they were doing. They were making pre-made up packets. When they took the edge of the iron and did it, that made like a 1/2 inch wide melted piece. When you got done and you had a series of these, you'd take scissors and cut it, and you'd have, there's a package of coffee ready to go. There's a package of this, there's a package of that. And I saw a lot of cooking elements carried to the field that way because it was fairly tough with heavy wax paper and relatively waterproof. And so I could carry the fixings for biscuits already put together, just no wet gear. I could put together other spices and stuff like that for various meals already put together, or hush puppy mix to make hush puppies out in the field when we're doing a fish fry, for individuals, for groups, where we're going on a fishing trip and we're going to camp overnight and we're going to eat fish that night. Well, they would make these up that already had a measured amount of knowing how much canteen cup water to put in would equal the hush puppy mix. And quite often a aluminum foil pouch rolled up tight was the mixing bowl for this, or the canteen cup itself would be used as a mixing bowl. By putting a measured amount and then tearing and dumping that in there in that wax paper, that it could then be put into the fire and used as a fire starter basically. It made a way of, old school way of having pre-measured and ready to go components. Now, this came up in my mind because of my wife. Her day job, where she's getting up now in the mornings and she's going to work, and she loves her coffee in the morning. And I sat there watching her go through all of these steps of setting the cup down, getting the spoon out comes a big old tub of instant coffee, screw off the lid, 2 scoops, screw the lid back on, grab the creamer, screw the lid off, 2 scoops, 3 scoops, put that back, grab the packets of sweetener that's not sugar, tear those individually and pour it in the cup. It was a 2-minute operation of just handwork. And those old guys kind of came back to my mind. So I got to looking around one of the Dollar Trees and they had these. This is a little bitty container that's designed for you to put in a kid's lunch box and then be able to put, you know, M&Ms, candy, whatever, and it seals up good and tight. Right there. That is a complete measure of coffee ready to go. Now, with that like that, and it seals up good and secure, she can go ahead and measure up the coffee, the creamer, the sugar, all the dry stuff right there. And instead of doing all that action in the morning, all she got to do is pop, dump, and dump the water in. That's it. She's doing a single cup. She's not making pot because I'm not drinking it. So therefore, single servings, ready to go. Now, the old wax way works whenever you're trying to do pre-measured components, and I'm not bringing it back as trash. These reusables are great, but the old wax paper does have a way, especially if I'm going on a long camp out, and I want to put pre-made up servings to carry with me. So this entire box of macaroni and cheese makes too much for me to eat it one sitting. I want to cut it in half. I can do that at home by simply dumping it out on a plate and cutting it in half. So this is one and that's one, and then sealing it up into one of these pouches and take with me. Using wax paper or a seal-a-meal from Modern works good. And then when I get to camp, bring the water up to boil, tear the paper and put it in there and throw it in the fire. Done. Very little waste, very little muss, very little fuss. And I know it's pre-measured up. Now, one of my favorite breakfast drinks for many, many years with the old canteen cup set was Tang, because I liked orange juice in the morning. And so I would pre-measure out a smaller container of Tang, because we're going to be out there 3 days, so I need 3 mornings worth of this. And so I knew how many scoops I put per canteen cup, and I made up one of those tubes of wax paper, and I dumped it in, sealed it off, dumped it in, sealed it off, dumped it in, sealed it off, and then I left it connected. Just folded it over on itself so it was a nice even packet. So in the morning, I put the cold water in there up to there, split the packet, dumped it in, took a cleaned off stick, stirred it up, tore the excess wax paper off, and that was used to start the morning fire. Quick and easy. Hope you've enjoyed this, guys. If you enjoy this content, please hit that like, share, and subscribe button before you go. I'd really appreciate it. And there'll be more videos on the way. Till next time, guys, I'm Blackie, wishing you safe journeys. Have a great day, guys.